do you measure or quantify stress in the managed stress trials? That would be the motive.
Well, what we're doing is we're actually at those two managed stress sites. We can actually put on a specific amount of water through the growing season, and so
we all kind of use the same techniques. You know, in my plots in particular, I've got drip, so I can manage the water. I've got a fully irrigated and a limited water, and then a really stressed. Depending on what we're testing, I'll infest insects. You know, if I need rootworms, I'll buy rootworm eggs. Y'all ever planted rootworm eggs? It's a fun deal. I'll call y'all when we do it. But you know, we can just have these research sites and manage those stresses so that we've got a good look at what we want to try to nail down and identify. Yes, ma'am.
Are you monitoring soil water content and the stress profile so you know where
Right, and I'll let him answer for his. For our trials, I talked about those moisture probes, and they give us a water reading every 4 inches. So I start at ground level and go 48 inches deep. I can track the roots, see how far the roots are traveling, and I can track the water all the way down.
Well, at our research locations, they do monitor water use and water drawdown in the soils. I haven't been to the sites, but I know that's an important thing. They monitor that. They'll actually look at water use and how that's affecting the profiles, the moisture profiles. In our own tests, when we get those tests out for these large fields, we don't monitor the water use per se. It's just mainly looking at the plants through the season and how they adhere during those stress periods. Other questions?
Please don't mind if I revisit this question about severe water stress versus unstressed corn. I was just wondering if unstressed corn gets 20 inches of irrigation, what's stressed and severely stressed corn get?
Well, it varies on how much stress they want to put on it. They might cut that down to 7 inches or 8 inches to see how those hybrids are going to perform. Last year was the first year they actually evaluated products or these hybrids at Plainview, and they watered. It was a flood situation. They don't have the drip tape in place yet. So what they did was they flooded those fields to get the corn up, and then they didn't water it again after that point. And it showed. I mean, when you walk through those plots, most of those plants were barren. They had no ears on. But every now and then you find a plant or a hybrid in there that had grain on the ears, and that's the kind of thing they're looking for. So they want to stress these hybrids as much as they can to evaluate how tough they actually are in these really harsh environments.
Well, depending on what you're trying to study in that trial, there are different ways to evaluate that. You know, you can use the ET rates and just go off the chart, off the internet, and here's how much we need today, and track it that way. Like I like those probes. I really learn to trust those. So I will set up the trial so it's 100%, 70%, 50%, whatever the test is designed for. So there's different ways to try to get a hold of that and manage that stress accordingly. Yes, ma'am. And I'm sure it'll be the same answer, similar. We're still trying to evaluate that because depending on what that gene brings you, you know, are we going to be able to reduce those planting rates, or are we going to need to maximize those rates? If you look at a lot of the traits and technologies that have come back or come into existence recently, and I know growers don't like to hear this because y'all are just trying to sell seed, you know, but really when you look at how we've been able to protect those plants, Iowa State and a lot of the university data will support this. We actually should be increasing our seeding rates. But directly to your question, is the trials that I'll have out this year, that'll be a big component of that, trying to identify what is the appropriate seeding rate given the technology in the field.
Are you selecting for 1 or 2 years, or are you trying to reduce the other 1 year?
basically it's 1 year, but we're just maximizing yield. You know, it's just 1 year.
I agree with TK. That's essentially what we do. We have an idea right now. If you're under limited irrigation, you're planting one of our hybrids. We really, if you've got water, you can put water on that field. Your nozzle is somewhere around 3 gallons per acre. We really don't like to see folks go below 20,000 plants per acre. That's what the seed drop. Without the seed drop, would be at 100,000. In our dryland plots last year, it was mainly up to the farmer what he wanted to drop. And those guys in dryland are dropping about 12,000 to 11,000. And so you've got a lot of space in between those plants. But it's like TK says, we really like to see those plant populations bumped up. We don't know where that right population is now. That's our next big step, is trying to figure out where we need to be under limited irrigation and dryland situations. And there's going to be a lot of work done this year to kind of start hammering that out and figuring where we want those plant populations.